Good afternoon and welcome to NR1 Live here at Carrow Road. Still an empty stadium, unfortunately. It's been a whole year now, since the stadium was full with 27,500 people. Still a very, very strange place to be here at Carrow Road. But some early team news. Todd Cantwell back in the side today. With his little ponytail today, looking good. And another bit of team news. Lucas Rupp is in for Mario Vrancic. A little bit of early team news for you there. But before we do anything else, let's catch up on all the goals in no particular order on NR1 Live since the last time we were here.
Into the penalty area he goes, into a central position. Low shot from Buendia into the net. And it's another magic moment from Emi Buendia. Crosses low into the penalty area, the shot comes in and it's there. Norwich have found the way through and it's that man again, Teemu Pukki. The old 1-2 for Norwich City. And Norwich City have got a second goal and it's Adam Eadie.
And you could definitely hear there, Rob, that what it means to the players, even though they're playing at the bottom of the team side in Wycombe, just how important every single point and results they're getting at the moment.
Absolutely, Wycombe fight for their lives, and we know what they're all about. It's just you've got to match them for the physical side of it, and Norwich did in that game, and like you say, just testimony to Kenny McLean's influence on the team, how like elated he was there and what it meant to him, which was fantastic.
Yeah. Before we go any further today, Rob, we must just talk about Glenn Roeder, because he sadly passed away this week. You knew him quite well as well.
I didn't really know him well. One story from Glenn Roeder, the first time I actually spoke to him, I was literally just got sacked as Southend manager. And the following morning I had a phone call, didn't know the number, it was Glenn Roeder on the phone, who was West Ham manager at the time. And literally his conversation was, listen, you don't know me. He says, but I hear you're a good guy and good guys deserve to get on in the game. Would you like to come in and scout for West Ham? And if I hadn't have had that phone call, I wouldn't have had like my scouting career over the last 15 years. So I owe a lot to him, and like I spoke to him a few times in that scouting role, and he was nothing but a pure gentleman. Yeah,
he wasn't. To be fair, when I was in the England squad at Norwich and I was playing in the Championship, essentially Glenn Roeder was one of the coaches with Glenn Hoddle. And I remember him specifically saying to me, no, you deserve your chance here. Yeah. You've been picked in the squad because of the quality you've got. It doesn't matter which league you're playing in. You know, kind of filling you with confidence. So he's got a lot of people that like him.
Absolutely, and far too young. Far too young. You hear like the testimonies he's had this week from people in the game, and it was everything was positive about him. He was knowledgeable. His coaching methods were really good in the bygone days as well. So he had some modern ones, not what they're doing now, back in those days. But like I say, for me, he sort of like set me on my path for scouting. I'm forever grateful for him.
Yeah, sad news. But back on today, we've got the table for you just to show you before we go to ours. Oh, sorry, no, having the team news. That's what we're going to do first. Of course, there's a couple of changes in the side today. Lucas Rupp, we think will probably be in the number 10 role. Cantwell we expect to be out on the left, obviously replacing Hernandez. Rob, Rupp we expect to go into the 10? Or, we were talking about would he put McLean in there and perhaps put Rupp next to Skip, but would you want to break up that partnership of Skip and McLean?
Not really, because I think that's been like part of the defensive solidity in the last few games, but I think McLean's got more about him on the ball in terms of like picking those passes out, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him and Rupp's swap and say Rupp alongside Skip.
Yeah, well, let's talk to one of our legends, first legends of the day now, Darren Huckerby, who's joined us out of the gantry. He's on his duties today. We got him on loan. You remember what happened the last time we got Darren Huckerby on loan?
He stayed.
Didn't he? He stayed, and the rest is history for Norwich City. But we can hopefully talk to Darren Huckerby right now. Hux, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, boys. How
are
we doing?
You can hear him, but we can't quite see him at the moment. But Hux, look, we're talking about Adam Eadie a little bit today as well, and he scored his goal at Wycombe last week. He's been limited in terms of opportunities at this club so far, and it's difficult though as a youngster, isn't it, to come into a team who's been so successful. He's just got to bide his time.
Yeah, it's very difficult. You've also got Pukki, who's playing the best football of his life, really. And you've got Hugo, who we've brought in, who can't get a game. So he's just going to have to wait, bide his time, and when he does get his chance, he's got to take him. And like I said, he came on the other day, got a little goal, but we've still got to see the best of him, I think.
And Hux, what do you expect with him to do next season? If Norwich do, and hopefully they do get into the Premier League, would you expect him to have to then look at maybe going out on loan somewhere to get that experience and get some real games under his belt? Because that's what he needs now, isn't it? He's had that taster, he's had the experience of being in and around the squads. He needs game time in the first team. Yeah,
especially if we go up, we'll probably bring in another forward as well, so he'll end up probably being fourth choice. And at 20 years old, you need to be out there playing football. So maybe a little loan just to give him some football week in, week out, maybe in the Championship, to see what he can do on a weekly basis.
And you know him well, Hux. What type of player is he? Because we've seen him so far. We've seen him score a hat-trick against Preston, the goal against Wycombe, which I think we're going to show now. It was basically a tap-in. Is he a poacher in the box? Is he someone who scores? We've seen him score goals from virtually the halfway line against Preston. What type of player is he as a centre-forward?
He's probably someone who can do a bit of everything. You know, he's not bad in the air. He can hold the ball. He's not a bad runner. He's quite skillful. He's got a bit of everything. He's not like in the old days where he was either a target man or you're a quick lad. He can do a bit of everything. So, you know, it's going to be interesting to see how his career develops, because usually you have to nail one of them. You know, normally you're a target man or you're like Pookie who runs off the shoulder. So it's going to be interesting to see how his career develops. Yeah,
but looking at the side today, Hux, we see Cantwell's back in today. Me and you and Rob are obviously big fans of Cantwell. But Lucas Rupp's back in the side today for Vrancic. What do you make of that? Do you think it's a bit of an injury or just a system change, perhaps?
I think it's probably due down to who we're playing against. They play in a diamond. He probably just wants a little bit more stability. We might just play a flat midfield. You know, we do know that Buendia and Cantwell can drop into that 10 role if we need to. So I think it's a tactical change more than anything. And like I say, with the players we've got, they all can adapt. They all can play anywhere in that midfield. So.
Yeah, well, enjoy the game, Hux. He's off to do co-coms with Chris Gorham today on Radio Norfolk. So thanks for joining us, mate. Appreciate the time.
Boys.
Good, mate. So the way the team he's just touched on it there, Daniel Farke's been very vocal this week in terms talking about how Nathan Jones sets his teams up, and actually he can't read what he's going to play in terms of his systems. He changes it quite a bit. He doesn't stick to one rigid system. Yeah, no, they would have done their work on him in the last week. But like we say, I mean, you're only as good. You're the team top of the league, and like in whatever system Luton put out, Norwich should have enough in their locker to beat them. But you've got to do your prep, and he would have done his prep, and obviously he sees a reason for bringing Rook back into the team. Yeah. And only Daniel knows that, and the player obviously. So is he doing that, as Huxley said, to manage a little bit about what Luton do, or is it because, like, say, when you're top of the league and you're 10 points clear, surely you let the other team worry about you so much and play the way you want to, particularly when you're at home? 100%. The question you have to ask is: Rook coming in going to strengthen Norwich by leaving Vrancic out? I don't think he is, because I think Vrancic has got that ability as a number 10. So it is a tactical change and one that the manager feels they need. But like you say, Norwich are top of the league for one reason. They're the best team in the league. So, I mean, let's go out. Whatever system Luton played, I expect Norwich to win today. Yeah, you mentioned the league there, Rob. We can have a look at the table now. And I mean, it's fantastic really for Norwich. This is obviously clearly at the moment because Watford are winning at the moment. So that shows, so they've won 1-0. So that is the table as it stands at the moment. I mean, what a position to be in, Rob. Fantastic. I mean, we've said if you're here at Christmas, if you're in the New Year, the next one we're saying if you're there at Easter, isn't it? That's what we used to say. But I can say, Watford, I think, are the strongest of the challengers at the moment. They look really strong. But listen, we're 7 points clear of them. We win the game today, it's good. And it's a different side, isn't it? Because the last time Norwich won in the Championship, they've scored loads less goals this time round, but they've conceded far fewer as well. So it's a different type of side to what Norwich were in the Championship before. It is, but I'd rather have this side and the mentality of this side going into the Premiership than probably the last one, because it was all gung-ho, let's score 5. We know we can score 5, even if you score 3. Premier League, that doesn't happen. You've got to have a solid base defensively, and that is, we've said it every single time we've been on here, the defence has been so strong this year. Yeah, well, there's a really nice little slide we can show you now, Rob. I think it's a great stat. This is teams that have been this clear, 10-point leads with 12 games to go far this season. All those teams have got promoted and were champions as well. So it is down to Norwich, isn't it? So it shows that every team that has done it has not failed to get up. No. And Norwich, the way they're playing at the moment, as we said before, we've watched games so far this season where things haven't quite happened for them, but they've nicked results and you've not got that. But at the moment, they look like they're going to win every single game with the quality they've got and the way they're playing. Yeah, like earlier in the season, we were scoring like 92nd minute goals, free kicks or anything, and we weren't sort of like praising them for their overall performance. Now we're praising them for their overall performance, mainly defensively, but they look solid, so they can go and win one. They know they can go and win 1-0 now, or 2-0, or 2-1. You know what I mean? But they're not conceding 2s and 3s. How impressed have you been with this side? Look, all they're going through in terms of lots of games coming up, the situation with no fans in the stadium, it's taken them it's taken every team a lot of time to adjust to it, but Norwich seems to have done it better than anyone else have. Their mentality seems to be different to lockdown when they was in the Premier League. They seem to be, they sort of grown into it, I think.
Absolutely, and it's no coincidence that you've got Man City 15 points clear of the Premier League, Norwich 10 points clear of the Championship, because they have got the best squads in that division. And I think, like you say, crowds do make a difference. We've said that all along, and we missed them, and we can't wait for them to get back. But I think when it's a game for game, 11v11 with no crowds, the best team wins, the best squad wins. And that little period over Christmas where Norwich had a lot of injuries, they come through that, they managed to stay there. But now the squad, you look at the squad now, and everyone is fit.
Yeah.
So it's
And
fantastic.
that was evident during the week against Brentford, and we can see the highlights of that game now. We'll talk over these, Rob. Now, coming into this game, this was a big test for Norwich, wasn't it? But they dominated it from start to finish, really. I mean, Timo Pukki probably could have had a few on the night.
Yeah, I mean, like, so you expect in the form team who's in, you expect him to score them, but I mean, it was just sort of like just hit it a bit too high. But Brentford's been a consistently good team over the last few years and whatever. Like,
well, particularly consistent this season up until the last 5 or 6 games.
But that's when good teams rise, don't you? I mean, when the pressure comes and everyone sort of like are looking to knock you off your perch, Brentford have not been able to deal with that, and Norwich have. So this was a really good win, and I think this was the biggest statement Norwich have made for a long time. And like this guy now, all the plaudits of him being an assist in the previous game. Now he's adding goals to those assists as well, and sort of like this guy's value is going up and up.
Well, you talk about the team growing over this season. He is a player, hasn't he?
Yeah,
he seems to have matured over a period of the last few months into a player that his nose is worth now, and actually, you know, he has kind of just tempered down that temperament he has got.
Yeah, I mean, balls like that are fantastic, but I mean, we all know when Emi Buendia on his game is the best creative player probably in this division, but he's still got that petulance about him. And if you're a clever opponent, you play on that petulance. Yeah. It's how he sort of like controls that going forward. But like you say, I think he has matured. Yeah, I mean, he knows his value to the team, and his work rate has been excellent as well. But there are still some negatives. But the positives about Emi Buendia, especially in the last 2-3 months, has been fantastic.
Yeah, but looking at Timo Pukki, we can see it now, and I mean, he's been outstanding, as I said. But what's his mindset now, Rob? Because he's going into again, we're looking forward into hopefully going into the Premier League. What's he thinking? Is he thinking a year with Norwich? You know, because that's what we'd love to see him stay with Norwich and have a go in the Premier League. What's he thinking? You know, it's difficult, isn't it? It depends. It's literally down to his personality and what he wants as an individual.
Only Emi knows what he wants. I think. I mean, we're all praying that we're nearly in the Premier League now, and he must know that. What he doesn't want to do is go into the Premier League and probably have at least effect. Okay, he made some assists in that Premier League season, but he never had the real effect what he had in the Championships. Is that because of the team, or is that because Emi Buendia is not good enough to be in the Premier League? So only he'll know that. He'll believe he's good enough to play in the Premier League. So he might feel, if I'm in a better team, in the top 10 team in the Premier League, I'll become a better player. But only Emi knows. I'd love for him to stay hopefully when we get into the Premier League. We need people like Emi Buendia.
We all keep saying it, don't we? Hopefully, potentially. Nobody wants to mention the word at the moment, and that's kind of a superstitious thing as footballers have. I mean, did you have any superstitions as a footballer? Do you have any?
Not really. You know what I mean? Like I say, I was just a centre half, mate. The show ponies usually have the like yourselves have the superstitions. All I had was I had to have chicken and beans before.
What, just chicken and beans?
As my pre-match meal, yeah, just chicken and beans.
You were lively going down.
If I couldn't keep the centre forward, he would stay away from me for another reason.
Brilliant. Well, let's have a chat to another absolute legend now, probably the legend of this football club, Jeremy Goss, who's out on the gantry for us today. Gossy, did you have any superstitions back in the day, apart from hitting volleys in the top corner? That seemed to be yours.
No, that was a bad habit I had, but afternoon, everyone. No, I didn't. I tried to have a few. I tried to install a couple, but every time I did, I played bad every game, Darren, so it didn't really matter about superstitions.
Well, I always remember you getting Mark Roberts in the headlock before every game. Was that not your superstition you had?
That was compulsory. The habit.
Right, well, let's look forward to this team and the way they're playing at the moment. You know, we've used all the superlatives about them so far this season, I think in recent weeks in particular, but you know, we keep looking back to those same players, don't we, in the partnership of McLean and Skip, and you know, in a position where you'll know really well. Yeah, just how good have they been, looking at it from your point of view, compared to a comparison to where you were? Because you were more of an attacking midfielder, you know, you used to get into the box, whereas they're probably those two holding midfielders, aren't they?
Well, we've all done a lot of defending in our time, and you have to when you haven't got the ball, and the shield up in front of your centre-halves are really, really important. And in our day, we'd get it from the centre-halves anyway, putting us in, verbally shouting and screaming when we haven't got it to shield up in front of the strikers. And Skip has been outstanding. We've mentioned it in the last game that I was on your show. I mentioned it till the end of the season. He's been really the player of the year so far. And McLean. Kenny McLean had a wonderful game midweek, and he's going to have another one today, I'm sure, as well. But it is a vital position because defensively, that's where the strength is. The wide players in your team will show all the opposition inside to your strength. And your strength is those 4 players, your 2 centre-halves, 2 holding midfield players who suck and absorb all that pressure up.
We've seen Kenny McLean now, Gossy, and we talked about kind of your era of having... You need someone vocal in there as well, don't you, in that central midfield area. You can't have 2 quiet ones. And I'd imagine Kenny's the one that does speak up a bit, and Skip is probably the one that's a little bit more quiet, I would say.
Well, they probably both lead by example in their display anyway, and Kenny would be the more vocal one. At the Rotherham game when I was behind the Barclay, I heard many organise and dictate on set pieces against, and that was really encouraging to hear. And you've got to drag players in around you to stop the spaces occurring. So when their midfield players or their defenders come forward with it, there's no gaps and no spaces because they want to get it to their strikers.
Would you like to see them get forward just a little bit more, Gossy, and maybe add some goals to their game? I know Skip scored his goal the other day, but is that something you think that they could add to their game perhaps?
Absolutely, why not? Let's be different, let's be courageous and brave, and let's gamble a few times by going forward. Skip's only got the 1 goal, I believe. It's not down to Pukki and Buendia, it's down to the whole team to score goals. And that's something they can add on to their game. And if they do go forward, they've got other players who can see that with their vision and take their place and shield up in the spaces that they've just lost.
Top man God, we'll speak to you again at half-time. Thanks for joining us.
Pleasure.
That's great talking to Gossy, isn't it? He's just he talks so well. It's not often you get someone who's a legend at a football club and does the stuff he's done, but actually talks as well as that as well.
He knows what he's talking about, Gossy. I mean, like I say, I had those conversations every time because I roomed with him. You know what I mean? I was having those conversations.
That was unlucky you, mate. That is.
Yeah, I mean,
you weren't wrestling.
I'm wrestling. That was a tradition. We had to arm wrestle before we went to sleep every night. I never won.
Brilliant.
He's a good lad.
But Ollie Skip there, we said about adding goals to his game. We can see his goal he has scored now. I mean, is that a bit of a monkey off his back that he's managed to get that goal? Is it something he needs to add to his game a little bit? Or is he literally a role where that's not about his game? No. It's not about scoring goals. They'll come as a bonus every now and again.
For me, Ollie Skip is there for one reason, and that is to shield and help the defence. If he chips in with a goal every now and again, that's a massive bonus. But listen, I'm not going to chastise this guy. He's only scored 1 goal this season because, I mean, we were all together Thursday, but arguably he's going to be up there challenging for the player of the season if he carries on in the vein for the next 12 games because goals is not his game. It's his knowledge of the game. He's preventing goals going in, and that's as good as scoring.
Did it mean as much to that to players, defensive players?
Yeah.
Keeping clean sheets.
Yeah,
if you win, are you just as happy if you've won 4-3 as you are if you've won 1-0?
No.
You prefer to win 1-0?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, zero on that.
It's so negative. It's so boring.
You're a defender. You're a defender. It's great. Don't get me wrong. That's not good for the neutral. But as a defender, like you say, you win 4-3. I mean, like I say, the show ponies at the top will be going drinking champagne in the evening.
You've not done your job, have you?
We've done ours, mate. Exactly, and that's exactly what you would be saying on the bus. We've got to score 4 because you chumps at the back can't keep a clean sheet. So, no, keeping a clean sheet for me was the superlative of any central defender or defender mind.
Yeah, and that's what they've done so well this season, haven't they, so far?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, like I say, the goals column, and like I say, it's so much... But it's not a boring team. Winning 1-0, it doesn't make you boring. Like I say, it makes you solid.
Yeah, and let's have a look at our key matchup today. It is Ollie Skip and Kieran Dewsbury Hall from Luton Town. Kieran's obviously on loan from Leicester and a fantastic player, but you look at their stats together, not too dissimilar, are they, really, in terms of players? And hearing from Adrian Forbes, we're going to hear from him in just a little while. He's very vocal on the pitch, Kieran Dewsbury Hall, but he's gone in there and controlled things for him. Is that because of the level he's come from at Leicester?
Yeah.
So you can see 2 players on loan having a massive effect to Championship sides. Yeah,
and there's 2 years between them. Probably Dewsbury Hall's probably played more first-team minutes than Skip. Yeah. And like the most important thing about Skip is in that bottom left-hand corner. He said he has played every minute of the game this season. But those 2 are important players in both teams. So it'd be interesting to see how Dewsbury Hall does today for Luton, and he compares to Skip.
Let's hear a little bit about him now. When I caught with Adrian Forbes just a little bit earlier on. Well, welcome back to Carrow Road again, Forbesy. Another great day for you here today. But in terms of the occasion, Luton have put 2 over Norwich already this season in terms of the Cup and the League as well.
Yeah, they have, but I think what's important to say is it's a different Norwich team now to when we played against them previously. I think on the day, Luton were the better team on both occasions, and I think that's obviously what led to the 2 positive results. But as I say, we're definitely going to face a different Norwich team to what we faced then. But equally, I think looking at Luton after the last couple of games, I think Norwich are going to face a different Luton team as well. That's buoyant, full of confidence, and hopefully it'll be a good game today.
And Darren Huckerby's been surprised in terms of the way Nathan Jones has set his teams up. He's got a base formation which he changes quite a bit, so it's difficult for a manager like Daniel Farke to read what he's going to come up against today.
Yeah, and I think that the personnel that we have within our squad at Luton dictates that we can play numerous and various different formations, and I think what the manager will do is utilise those players and utilise the squad to make sure his team can give of their best against whichever opposition it is. But equally, that will cause a bit of a nightmare for the opposition teams that might watch a team and go, well, they're going to play 4-3-3, they're going to play 3-5-2, they're going to do 4-4-2, and then you plan for that, then you get there and it's something completely different. But that's the challenge in the Championship. It happens with Luton, it happens with several other teams as well, and I think that's probably what separates the Championship away from other leagues.
And is Nathan Jones a manager that will pick a team to suit himself rather than looking too much at Norwich, or has he got an eye on Norwich as well because he wants to make sure that they don't create too much?
Yeah, I think you've got to. I think you've got to look at the team you're going to play against and find out a way of setting up your team to stifle their creation, whether it is whichever team it is within the Championship, and Norwich being one of the teams that will always create a lot of opportunities. So yes, the manager will look at that, but also there's a massive emphasis on Luton Town and what Luton Town do, and that's got to take paramount importance. Can you set up the Luton Town team to play in a way that will impact their game on the opposition, but also stifle the opposition's opportunities in possession?
Yeah, and Luton's main threats today, Forbesy?
I think you look across the team, there's some real good threats there. The squad size for the club we are is quite good, but you look at someone like Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall, Pelly Radicampanzu and Elijah Adebayo over the last few weeks have been instrumental. Kiernan coming in on loan from Leicester, I think he's been a bit of a revelation, and I think it's now everyone's laughing, calling it the Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall Player of the Month trophy because he's won it so often, but he just dictates everything that we do, and he passes and moves the ball with a real tempo. Pelly Radicampanzu, midfielder as well, but different stature and different build, and he's the one that I would say would rat around, break down the opposition's playing forward and then give it to the boys that will go and attack. And then you've got Elijah Adebayo, who's coming from Walsall. A lot of people might have questioned whether he could make the step up to Championship football, but he's been superb in recent weeks, and the one thing that he has done is, he's got a lot of power, he's got a lot of pace, but technically he's very, very good as well. He will link play really well, and we scored a few goals over the last few games as well, so hopefully those three, along with the rest of the boys, can be instrumental in Luton's performance today.
And just very quickly, rounding up, coming here today, will they be confident to try and get a result today, a win or a draw? What do you think they'll be thinking?
I think the team, and knowing the lads like I do, and knowing the manager and the backroom team like I do, they'll be coming in here to put in a positive performance. I think we've come off the back of 2 positive performances. I think if you go back a couple of weeks ago, it was an indifferent performance first half against Sheffield Wednesday. Manager was bold and brave and made change at half time. We come away with a 3-2 win. So you look at that, and you go to Nottingham Forest in midweek, you win 1-0 away from home. So I think it's been well documented, our performances away from home. There's been a lot of 1-0 wins, so that says that we're quite structured and quite strong out of possession, and hopefully that will be what the manager will be looking to achieve today. And if you can potentially catch Norwich on an off day when they don't actually get the movement right or their passing right, then you never know what the result could be.
And back at one of your former homes today, what's your prediction on the result? I'm going to put
you have to put me on the spot there, but the reality is I'm going to have to go with the people that pay me and my employees at the moment. I've got to go with a Luton win.
Well, that's not bad to be fair, though. I thought you were going to firmly sit on that fence right there.
No, I can't sit on the fence today. I've got to go with my employees. And you know what? It's going to be a good game, but let's be fair. Everyone can see Norwich are, to a certain extent, running away with the league, and it's all about Luton Town cementing their place in the Championship again for next year. We're in a really good shape at the moment, but the 3 points are going to be more valuable to us than they are to Norwich, so hopefully everyone will understand that.
Yeah, great to see you as always, Forbes.
Brilliant, and you, Darren. Thanks very much.
And Rob, brilliant to see him doing so well at Luton since he's left Norwich, isn't it?
Yeah, nice. And like I say, you just hope in the years to come, like Norwich, he was one of the coaches at the academy and whatever, he's left to go to Luton, and by the sounds of it, he's really cemented himself into the coaching staff, and they all seem to like him as well. So good luck to him, fair play to him, he's a great kid.
And what we're blessed as well to have all these Norwich City ex-players that are so good at talking on camera. And then there's me and you.
Going back to those days, the chumps in the studio.
Who would have thought it? Who would have thought it? Speak for yourself. We've got another head-to-head here of Timo Pukki, who again has been influential, particularly the latter part of the season so far. I mean, this is against Luton's entire front line. He's outstanding, isn't he? And that shows the difference. 18 goals compared to their 10, and they've got 6 players you're talking about there.
6 players against 1. They've played double the minutes that Timo have played, and one scored 18. The other 6 have scored 10. One team is 10 points clear at the top, and one team's mid-table. Say no more.
And the ratios, Timo's ratios of assists and goals is 0.79, which is it's impressive, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, sort of like we weren't critical of him in the early season, but we just didn't think he was sharp enough. And it's like anything, strikers need goals and confidence, and people like your Buendias and Campbell's feeding you those balls in, getting him in the areas, because he will score a goal. And like I say, I mean, he's just come to the peak at the right time for the season for me.
Yeah, and we can see now the EFL team of the month. It should be really all the Norwich players in there, shouldn't it? I mean, to only see 3, I'm a little bit disappointed.
Absolutely, but I mean, those 3 have been the outstanding contributors for Norwich, along with another 6 or 7, like you say. It could have been at least 8 or 9 on that team.
Have we not talked too much about Grant Hanley today either?
No.
But he's been influential for Norwich this season, has he? He's been, for you as a centre back, looking at him and the difference he's made. You know, that's made more of a difference to Norwich this season probably than Buendia has. Arguably, he's defensively.
He's a leader. He's a leader there, and you mean all the plaudits he's had from his teammates over. I mean, when we've been speaking to them, where they've been coming on sending little bits about the players, and like I say, 29 years old. Yeah, I mean, he is definitely at the peak of his career at the moment, and massively important.
And he's been really disappointed and vocal about the fact he's not been in the Scotland squad as much as he has been since he was younger. And you'd argue he's playing some of his best football now. It seems a bit surprising, doesn't it, not to have him in that Scotland squad? Or I'm sure he will be in the next squads, but surely he's not. Who have they got that's better than that?
Obviously, Tony Spearing in his scouting knowledge is not too good. But listen, I don't know the 2 mainstays centre halves in Scotland's team, but if they're better than him at the moment, they're going to be pretty good. But I don't think they are. So whether there's something wrong, whether there's personality clashes, you don't know. But this guy here, I think, has been an outstanding performer for Norwich this season, like both vocally and in his actions, which is fantastic. So, like I say, I think he deserves more international appearances or for whatever reason. But like I say, listen, hey, don't worry about Scotland. Just worry about Norwich, because he's been doing the job.
Yeah, and that takes care of itself then, doesn't it? Well, look, Daniel Farke in that change room. I know what you're going to say. So you've been done by Luton in the league. You've been done by Luton in the cup. You're playing them at home today. What's his team talk?
Just that. And like I say, forget about everything. Play like you've played over the last couple of months, but don't forget. We've been to Kenilworth Road twice a season, and we've been rolled over. And the last one where we conceded 3 was tough, because we watched it here on NR1, and so we were a bit critical of them, saying, listen, they never matched up to them physically and whatever. We're on our own patch now, nice pitch, nice stadium. Let's go and show what we're really worth.
Yeah, they own one. And we're laden down with badges again, a bit of Rob. This one is the level playing field, and this is for disability and football, to get as many inclusion, grassroots level, right through sport, to get people disabled within the game and the access to it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The more we can make people aware of what you've just said and whatever, get them involved in football, get them outside, get them on pitches and whatever level they are, and whatever, get them out kicking the ball around, or any sport.
Yeah, and your predictions, Rob? We always have our predictions before the game today.
I'm winning so far, aren't I? I'm gonna go a big win today. I'm gonna go 3-0 Norwich.
3-0 Norwich?
Yes.
Okay,
I'm winning.
Well, I hope you're right. I'm going to go 2-0. I just think Norwich are bang on top of it at the moment in terms of their confidence, the way they're playing, and they owe Luton one, don't they?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So that's one thing. I was even going to go 4-0. I was going to go.
Oh, you go 4?
No, I'm going 3-0.
Okay, 3-0 for Rob,
2-0
for me. Enjoy the first half. We'll see you at half time.